A quiet morning in Chicago's Pilsen neighborhood was shattered earlier this week. Federal agents from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE, conducted a pre-dawn operation. The raid targeted several apartment buildings. Residents were woken by loud knocking and shouts. Many described a scene of confusion and fear. The operation was swift. It left the community reeling. Questions began to surface almost immediately. Why this neighborhood? Why now? The full scope of the operation is still becoming clear. What is known is that several individuals were taken into federal custody, their futures now uncertain as they navigate the complex immigration system. The operation was officially described by ICE as a targeted enforcement action. Federal officials stated they were pursuing individuals with outstanding deportation orders or criminal records. However, this official line did little to calm the rising tide of anxiety in the community. Eyewitnesses reported agents questioning people on the street. Some claimed agents did not present warrants when asked. These accounts paint a picture that goes beyond a simple, targeted action. The raid has since become a flashpoint. It highlights the deep-seated tensions surrounding federal immigration policy, and its execution in so-called sanctuary cities like Chicago, where local policies are designed to limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities. The response from Chicago's City Council was swift and forceful. Within hours of the news breaking, a coalition of aldermen held a press conference. They condemned the raid in no uncertain terms. They called it an aggressive and unnecessary action that sows fear in communities. The aldermen, particularly those representing immigrant-heavy wards, were visibly angry. They announced their intention to introduce a resolution. This resolution would demand a full and transparent investigation. The primary focus of their inquiry is the potential involvement of the Chicago Police Department in the federal operation, a question that strikes at the heart of the city's sanctuary status. The core of the City Council's concern lies with Chicago's Welcoming City Ordinance. This local law strictly limits when and how city employees, including police officers, can cooperate with federal immigration agents. The ordinance is designed to build trust between immigrant communities and local law enforcement. It ensures residents can report crimes without fear of deportation. The aldermen are now asking a critical question. Was this ordinance violated? They want to know if Chicago police officers provided any support to ICE. This could include sharing information, providing logistical help, or establishing a perimeter during the raid. Any such involvement would be a serious breach of city policy. Chicago's mayor addressed the city directly in a press conference held at City Hall. The mayor's tone was firm and unequivocal. "I am deeply disturbed by the reports of this ICE raid," the mayor began. "Let me be clear, Chicago is and will remain a welcoming city." The mayor emphasized that the city's Welcoming City Ordinance is not just a suggestion, it is the law in Chicago. The statement was a direct message to both residents and federal authorities. It aimed to reassure a frightened community while simultaneously drawing a line in the sand. The mayor promised a swift and thorough review of the incident from the executive office. Following the initial statement, the mayor's office issued a formal directive ordering the inspector general to launch an immediate and independent investigation. This move is significant. It takes the probe out of the hands of the police department itself. The inspector general's office has the authority to conduct its own impartial review. The mayor also announced the creation of a rapid response legal aid fund. This fund will be a public-private partnership designed to provide immediate legal representation to affected families. "No one in our city should face this kind of situation alone," the mayor stated. "We will stand with our neighbors." In a direct challenge to federal authorities, the mayor has also demanded answers from the Department of Homeland Security. The mayor's office has sent a formal letter to the regional ICE director requesting details about the operation. It asks why the city was not given prior notification, which is a common courtesy for major law enforcement actions. For residents of Pilsen and other immigrant communities across Chicago, the raid has reignited this constant low-level fear. Community leaders are reporting a flood of calls coming into immigrant rights hotlines. People are asking if it's safe to go to work or even take their children to school. Advocacy groups have been working around the clock holding Know Your Rights workshops in church basements and community centers. These sessions are all about explaining what to do if ICE agents come knocking at the door. The atmosphere is thick with anxiety. One community organizer described it as a collective trauma, where actions against a few people create this chilling effect for thousands more. Leaders from various community organizations have been highly critical of the raid, arguing that such aggressive tactics are counterproductive. They say these raids terrorize families and destabilize neighborhoods. The director of one prominent Latino advocacy group issued a statement saying, "These are not faceless statistics. These are our neighbors, our friends, and our family members. They are parents, workers, and business owners who contribute to the fabric of our city." These leaders are demanding more than just an investigation. They're calling for a fundamental shift in how immigration enforcement is conducted, urging a focus on humanity and due process over surprise raids. But the concerns go beyond just the immediate fears of deportation. There are practical worries about what happens to the families left behind, what happens to the children, many of whom are U.S. citizens, whose parents have been detained, who's going to pay the rent or buy groceries. Local charities and mutual aid networks are scrambling to provide support, collecting donations and organizing meal deliveries, but they warn that their resources are limited. The immediate focus in Chicago is on two parallel investigations. The first is the one ordered by the mayor, to be conducted by the city's inspector general. The second is the probe demanded by the city council. Both will seek to answer the same fundamental question. Did the Chicago Police Department or any other city agency assist ICE in the Pilsen raid, thereby violating the welcoming city ordinance? We can expect these investigations to be meticulous. They'll involve reviewing departmental emails, phone logs, and GPS data from police vehicles. Official responses from the Chicago Police Department have been cautious so far. In a brief statement, a CPD spokesperson said the department is fully committed to the welcoming city ordinance and will cooperate with any investigations. The statement didn't confirm or deny any involvement, pending the outcome of official reviews. The police superintendent will face intense questioning from the city council in the coming weeks. Looking forward, we should watch for several key developments. The first will be the public hearings held by the city council committee. These hearings will provide a public forum and will likely be contentious and highly publicized. The second key development will be the final report from the inspector general, which will carry significant weight because of its independence. Its findings could lead to disciplinary action for any officers found to have violated city policy. The timeline for these reports is uncertain, but the pressure for a swift conclusion is immense. Ultimately, the outcome will have lasting implications for Chicago's relationship with federal authorities and its commitment to sanctuary city principles. For now, a city waits for answers, and a community waits for justice and reassurance. The story is far from over,